Yeah, thank you, Roger. It's my great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the Museum and Hall of Fame, to welcome all of you here this evening on this lovely evening in Goshen, the birthplace of the Trotter. We have a full evening. Everyone, please make yourselves comfortable. At this moment, we usually take a moment of silence to recognize key members of our sport who have passed since we last gathered here a year ago. That would include Robert Tucker, who's a longtime trustee of the Museum and Hall of Fame, a major donor and supporter, and founder of Stonegate, as well as Hall of Famers Hervé Filion, Harry Harvey, who's father of one of our own trustees, Ellen, Jack Copas, and Communicators Marie Hill and Sam McKee. May I just ask a moment of silence, please? Thank you. At this point, I would like to introduce Tim Bojarski, President of the United States Harness Riders Association. Ask him to come to the podium to welcome people. Here comes Tim.
Good evening. It's an honor to come to Goshen every July and take part in the Hall of Fame weekend. It gives you the opportunity to respect the legends of the past and appreciate the stars of today. It is USHWA's greatest responsibility to take part in inducting new members each year, and on behalf of all our members, I thank the museum for that privilege. So congratulations to all this year's honorees, and thank you everyone for coming.
I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's activities where we honor our sport's best and brightest. Let us pray. We give thanks for the gift of people and the horses we honor tonight. We ask for guidance in being the best that we can be and do right by our fellow competitors and the horses who do our will. God bless the men and women who serve our country. Amen. Members of the staff will, I guess most of you have already served your salad, and we ask that you enjoy your salad. And we're going to do the program in two parts, and we do ask that you hold your talk to a minimum. This is being streamed live on the United States Trotting Association website. And as I've always told you, we've got hidden microphones at about 7 tables here. So watch what you say and who you talk about, because it will go live on the USTA tonight. For those that are receiving awards, we ask to make the evening seamless and transparent as possible, that group shots be taken in the Houghton Hall after the awards. Your cooperation will be appreciated. Scanning the crowd, I see we have some notable guests tonight. We ask that you please stand. Your name is mentioned, and I won't ask him to stand, but we'll start off with a gentleman that had a little bit of an accident this week and got out of the hospital and showed up with us tonight. And it's always a pleasure to have him here. And I'm speaking of New York State Senator Bill Larkin here at Table 1. Thank you, Bill. And a speedy recovery. You got to watch those steps, though. You got to watch those steps. They can be dangerous. USTA Executive Vice President Mike Tanner with us tonight. Extend a warm welcome to Goshen Historic Track officials. Gave us a wonderful afternoon of racing today, and we thank you for all that you do each year. Museum trustees, would you please stand as we recognize your name? Ebby Gary, Larry DeVan, Jay Farr, Bob Bonney, Jimmy Tactor, Tom Charters, Ted Goretz, Dr. Glenn Brown, Charlie Keller, Jim Simpson, Steve Jones, David McDuffie, Tim Rooney Jr., and Trustee Emeritus Peter Gary. Thank you one and all. Museum Counsel George Casal is with us tonight. George. Hall of Fame Day is like an alumni reunion, and we're welcoming back several members of the Hall of Fame. I'd like to introduce them at this time. Again, Dr. Glenn Brown, Hall of Famer. John Campbell. He was a driver. He's no longer a driver. Ebby Gary. Charlie Keller. The Buckeye, David Miller. The Magic Man, Bill O'Donnell. He is also no longer a driver. Jim Simpson. Now this guy's still driving. Dick Stillace. And of course, Jimmy Tactor. Members of the Communicators Hall of Fame attending tonight: Marv Bachrad, Murray Brown, Jerry Connors, Moria Fanning, Bob Hayden, John Manzi, Kathy Parker, and Leon Zimmerman. And don't forget the raffle, which we'll draw later this evening. To buy your tickets while there's still time, though. Proceeds help support the museum's efforts to keep the sport's spatial memories, its paintings, lithographs, and vehicles, jackets, caps in perfect condition. The winners will be posted in the Houghton Hall at the end of tonight's dinner. For those of you who might like to do some early holiday shopping tonight, please look for Kate Forey in the gift shop. Also a reminder that the Hambletonian Party and Casino Poker Night at Meadowlands Racetrack and Entertainment in East Rutherford, New Jersey will be on Friday, August the 4th. This popular event benefits the museum and the Standardbred Retirement Foundation. Tickets include an open bar, dinner, dessert, music, casino chips to play the table games. For more information, contact John Mayo of the museum staff. The Harness Racing Museum has long enjoyed the support of the Monticello Goshen chapter of the U.S. Harness Riders Association, and this year is no exception. We'd like to bring to the podium at this time John Manzi to present their very generous contribution to the museum. Larry Devan and Museum Director Janet Terhune will accept. Where's Manzi? Oh, I forgot. I know you're like me though, slow moving.
Yeah, well, almost your age.
Here, do you need help?
Yeah. We have a check. Where's Chris? Ah!
Thank you, Roger. Chris is coming with the gelt. It's been our pleasure, I say ours, the Monticello Goshen chapter of the United States Harness Riders for, I can't remember how many years, Darren. It's been a long time.
$51,000.
We've donated, that's including this?
17 years.
$51,000 we've donated to the, that's not counting the money we donated to the historic track, too. Not quite as much, but a lot, too, in the tens of thousands, and it's our pleasure. Every year we ask your support in our banquet, and you've always been there to help us out. And Chris is at the helm now, and he's doing a great job, along with Janet. And I'm going to like fade into the sunset slowly like Finkelson did. But the chapter's going to go on and on and on. We appreciate your support, and we thank you very much as we give $3,000 again today here to the museum.
And we have another presentation this time. United States Harness Riders Association President Tim Bojarski we sent a check for $5,000 from the national chapter of the United States Harness Riders Association. We look forward to many years honoring our Hall of Famers.
Chris is coming. Jim is coming.
Tim, yeah, thanks, man. This is huge. I said it earlier. Thank you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. It's big. I understand that.
And I believe Janet Terhune, our museum director, has a few words she'd like to say at this time.
The support of USHWA, both Monticello Goshen and National, means a lot to us. We work closely together to do the Hall of Fame, and it really shows that it really helps us a lot just to have their support. I want to say congratulations to Brian Sears, to Gordon Waterstone, to Steve Wolf, and Hannah Miller. And the connections of Mr. Musselman, Rock and Roll Heaven, Heartstopper, Beanier, Fox Valley Monica, and Steinman's Place. And always be Mickey. All the honorees deserve special recognition by our industry, and we serve that tonight. Of course, the news around here is all about Greyhound. His stall and sitting area with an amazing collection of artifacts are looking fantastic as a complete exhibit. This project is the culmination of many years of work by two dedicated women, Nancy Brace and Jan Hine, who saved his stall from destruction, and the vision of museum staff, especially Judy McMahon, Rebecca Howard, and John Mayo, to bring it back to life as Greyhound Gallery. The reconstruction in its entirety has required the expertise and creativity of many people in the museum, and also at Authentic Antique Lumber, a local Goshen company specializing in reclaimed barn lumber. And they're here tonight. I should also sincerely thank the Flannery, McKee, and Putnam Heitbrink families, as well as Dr. and Mrs. Ken Walker, and all those who financially supported this project. I would be remiss if I did not also thank trustees and the hardworking professional staff of this institution. Paul Wilder, Natalie Strassner, Christine Roberts, Kate Forey, Chris Tully, Robert Partington, Gigi Ryan, Joanne Young, Missy Gillespie, and Betty Ann Szynski. They all make this place run beautifully, and I appreciate them so much.
Next order of business would be to introduce the Delvin and Mary Lib Miller Horse of the Year Perpetual Trophy. Honoring Harness Horse of the Year, Always Be Mickey. Bred by Roll the Dice Stable in Wilmington, Delaware, Always Be Mickey was foaled in May 10th, 2011 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Owned in 2016 by Bluewood Stable, Roll the Dice Stable, and Christina Tacker. Always Be Mickey was trained by Jimmy Tacker and driven by David Miller. As a 5-year-old in 2016, Always Be Mickey won 12 of 18 starts, including the Breeders' Crown, Ben Franklin, William Houghton Memorial, and the TVG Series Final. He finished the season with $1.487 million in earnings. but it was his 146 flat victory in the Aldridge Open at Lexington on October 9th. It earned him a place in history as the fastest standardbred of all time. Always Be Mickey was voted 2016 Dan Patch Horse of the Year, Pacer of the Year, and Older Pacer of the Year. We're pleased to introduce Hall of Famer Jimmy Tacker and museum trustee Bob Bonney and present them with the museum's Delvin and Mary Lib Miller Horse of the Year Perpetual Trophy Commemorative. Jimmy, congratulations.
You did the talking.
Slide over, guys. Robert, slide right, slide left.
With this many people, how about up in front? Let's do it right.
Brenda. Yeah, middle. Christina over here. Come on, ladies.
Can we get up?
Yeah, there you go. Now we're talking. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, Larry Devan's a man after my own heart.
Thank you. Congratulations, all.
I just want to say thank you for everybody that voted for Mickey to be Horse of the Year, and what a thrill to have a horse like that racing. And you know, I just came into this horse life, and what a wonderful animal to be involved with this horse. And those races he did last year was something that I'm never going to forget. And I'm very grateful for the ownership that first of all let me and my wife buy into him, and also first of all, you know, train him. You know, it's, you know, David, thank you very much for driving him. You know, and your cousin Brett drove him in Ohio. Maybe that was the best race. You know, those races this horse did, it was just fantastic. And for me to be part of his life, and you know, I always gonna miss this horse. I mean, you know, have a horse like that, he's gonna be tough to replace if ever. You know, but he have a great life. He's a stallion now, and according to Bob, we have 130 mares gonna be unfold this year. So he's a fantastic breeder, and his life gonna be beautiful. So thank you very much.
I know you think you're having fun tonight, but you know, you really haven't experienced fun until you've participated in the Billings Amateur Series. Here now to tell us about the best of that bunch from last year. We're going back, well, it'll be a while, but John Manzi, you want to come up? You should have been like me, get a stool and just stay up here.
Help me up, Rod.
Wait a minute,
Get me right. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you all. Thank you, Roger, and everybody here. I've had the distinct pleasure of being the publicist of the granddaddy of all amateur organizations, the CKG Billings series. My mentor and my dear friend Phil Pines, when he left, he turned it over to me in 1994, and we were big time for many years, and we're still big time. But because of the success of the Billings, so many other amateur clubs have struck up around the land. There's a lot of them now. So much so that filling the Billings races, when we used to have 3 and 4 divisions, we're lucky if we get 2 divisions now. but it's all well and good. It's all for the sport. I love the amateur racing. When I was a driver back in the 60s, they used to say, "Hey, you're a damn amateur, Manzi." I said, "Yeah, you're saying the right thing," because I had the pleasure of being in the amateur and publicizing the amateur racing. This year and last year, we've had a wonderful talent. The guys are not too happy with her because she beats them all the time. I'm talking about a gal. Come on up here. Hannah Miller, come up here. Now, would you be afraid if she was driving against you? Look at this gal here. Why she doesn't get more national attention than she does is beyond me. But you know, I've been around her and I've been writing about her. And like I used to write about Billy Parker at Monticello Raceway. They say, "How come you write about Parker all the time?" Well, he keeps winning. What do you want me to do? Write about somebody that doesn't win? That's about this girl does. She wins and wins and wins. And I know when she comes off, she talks it over with the trainers and the grooms and her family and her friend, boyfriend Nick. They always make an observation of what she does. She's always striving to be better. And she's damn tough to beat on the racetrack. She went to the international thing. What was that? You went again in...
I was second.
She was second, lost by 1 point in the World Cup of Amateur Racing. Where was it, in Hungary?
Yeah.
In Budapest. Nada's going to Budapest. How is it, a nice town?
It was wonderful.
All right. You don't want to hear me talk, and you don't want to keep looking at me. You got Hannah here. All right? See, I said something right there anyway. A fine young lady, and why she doesn't get more national attention is beyond me. I wish I was back in the game, because I would be working hard to do it. A girl beating the guys. Isn't that a great story? Hannah Miller.
Thank you. I'll be quick. I just want to thank my family for the support. Nick, who's always there for me. You know, he's the backbone of this, really. The trainers, the owners who put me up and deal with the amateur racing. John Manzi, he's always supported me. He's always promoted me and done
Winning. How could I
done an
not?
excellent job at that. And I really appreciate that. It's been awesome. I love driving horses. It really is my passion. I just want to say congratulations to all tonight's honorees. And I want to give a special shout out to John Campbell. He is an inspiration to me and so many others. And best of luck in your future chapter. Thank you.
You'll see a big smile on my face. Congratulations. Does she take this one? Or we leave it here?
Thank you.
We're now going to have a live auction, and I think most of you have heard about it. In 1960, Delvin Miller's farm manager, Harry Harvey, and his wife, Cornelia, commissioned Richard Stone Reeves, the most prominent equine artist of the 20th century, to paint future Hall of Fame immortal broodmare Maggie Council as a Christmas gift for Delvin and Mary Libb. This painting of Maggie Council hung in the Miller's home until about 2006, when Mrs. Miller returned it to the Harveys before her death in 2009. Harry Harvey passed away in July of 2016, and his family offers it at auction tonight to benefit his estate with a generous commission to the Harness Racing Museum and Hall of Fame. While Mr. Reeves declined to publicly disclose his fees before he died in 2005, a 1997 report by Town & Country magazine cited a starting point of all of his paintings, the starting point of $25,000. We're going to have live auction tonight. Here's the painting itself. It's got a lot of rich history and Delvin and Mary Libb and Harry and Cornelia Harvey. Just imagine, his painting started at $25,000. That was back in the 90s. We'll start the bidding. $2,000. I got $2,000. I got $2,000 in front. She's much prettier than you are. $2,500. $2,500. Do I hear $3,000? I got $3,000 back there. Do I have $3,500? $3,500. Bob Bonnie. $4,000. I got $4,000. Do I have $4,500? $4,500. $4,500. I got $4,000. Do I have $4,500? Joe? He's out. Bob? $4,500. Do I have $5,000? Do I have $5,000? We got $4,500. Going once? Do I have $5,000? $5,000. $5,500. $5,500. $5,500. Do I have $6,000? Now don't forget, these paintings started at $25,000. $25,000 in the 90s. It might be a lot more now. Where are we at? Where are we at? 6. I got 6. Do I hear 65? I'm looking for 6. You gotta help me. I'm having problems up here. I got 55. Do I have 6? 6. 55 going once. 55 going twice. $5,500, Bob Bonnie. Thank you, Mr. Bonnie. And now, enjoy your dinner. We'll be back when everybody's been served. Class of 2017 of the Harness Racing Hall of Fame. We're going to start off with the Living Horse Hall of Fame broodmares, and we call to the podium Bob Hayden. That should about do it.
Thanks, Raj. We are now going to be looking at the Living Horse Hall of Fame broodmares. It's my privilege tonight to introduce the newest members of the Living Horse Hall of Fame. Tonight we will introduce the Hall of Fame broodmares first, and then the remaining Living Horse inductees later on. First up, the 2007 broodmare inductee Art Stopper. Bred and owned by the Roll the Dice stable of Wilmington, Delaware, broodmare Art Stopper was foaled on February 25, 2003 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The progeny that qualified Art Stopper for the Hall of Fame are 2016 Dan Patch Horse of the Year, fastest standardbred of all time, 146 flat, always be Mickey, and You Gonna Kiss Me or Not, winner of the 2016 Blue Chip Matchmaker Yonkers. In 2016, Art Stopper was the leading money-winning broodmare with over $1.8 million in offspring earnings. Accepting the award for Art Stopper are Joe and Brenda Hurley, and we're about to find out if what happens in Vegas does or doesn't travel to Goshen. Joe, Brenda?
Do I just talk? Yeah. There's a standard that speakers are supposed to observe, which is to know your audience and to gear yourself appropriately. And I'm going to violate that tonight because of a couple of events. And this is serious for a change. I'm never serious, but I'm sober now. Usually I've had 4 glasses of wine by the time I get into a situation like this. One of the things that happened is the untimely passing of Hervé Filion. And secondly, actually, Roger alluded to it in talking about John Campbell and Bill O'Donnell, and also Ron Pierce. And there's a moment that every one of us has experienced in a lifetime, perhaps more than once. And when it happens, we don't even know its significance. but it's a life-changing moment. And it makes us different than what we thought we were going to be, and it takes us down a path of passion that we never realized that we would occupy. John Campbell has experienced it, Bill O'Donnell has experienced it, Ron Pierce has experienced it, Roger's going to experience it, there he is, but he's still moving. And you get to that point and you say, you know what, that was life-changing, and I never really realized that. And that happened to me when I was 18 years old and I was driving by Brandywine Raceway, just a 18-year-old, who knows what that means anymore anyhow. And I saw the lights of Brandywine Raceway, and I got out of my car and I went over and I looked over the railing, or not the railing, the fence, and I saw the most beautiful sight I'd ever seen, harness race horses in the majesty as they progressed around the turn. And the hook went in, and the passion of my life, other than, and she's sitting here so I got to say this, other than Mickey, was harness racing. And it was in my blood in a way that I never, ever, ever thought would happen. And it has been, that was a defining moment for me. And that was the first one. And the most recent one, and this is a true story, and I don't know where she is, I decided I wanted to talk in terms of karma, God's will, fate, and I thought, I don't know the expression for Jewish folks. And I'm sitting over in the corner over there by myself, and a lady sits down 2 seats away, and I said, are you Jewish? And you could get to like, okay, we got a weirdo here. And she said, yes. And I said, I'm trying to develop the name for, and she's here, she's a grandma 3 times over. What do you say? And she said, reordain, and then I hope I get this right, B'Shayet. Did I get it right? B'Shayet. Oh, there she is, okay. So we've all had that experience happen. And then when you get to the end, and John Campbell and Bill O'Donnell will tell you this, you look around and you go, it happened so quickly. Where did it go? So we've all had that. Everybody that's here, maybe you're with somebody that has it, you have a basic love for an animal that you could never, ever, ever explain. It's not about power, money, ego, or wealth. It's about loving an animal who becomes like one of you. Thank you very much for listening, and Nikki wants to say something.
Hi, my name is Nikki, and I named Heartstopper's son, Always Be Mickey, and I want to offer my gratitude to all of you, and no, not on behalf of our mayor, but for having to listen to Joe. Thank you very much.
Something she never does. Here, you get it.
Oh, sorry.
You hold it. You hold it.
I hold it.
She named You're Gonna Kiss Me or Not, by the way.
Thank you. Good. Very good.
Thanks to the Horse of the Year Connections. Next up is the 2017 Broodmare inductee Benear. Bred by Susie Stafford, Broodmare Benear was foaled on March 26, 2003 in Allentown, New Jersey. The progeny that qualified Benear for the Hall of Fame are 2014 Little Brown Jug winning Limelight Beach, second place finisher in the 2016 Breeders' Crown and Cane Pace, as well as Manhattan Beach and Mama's Got a Gun. All 3 sired by the 2015 Hall of Fame inductee and 2008 Horse of the Year, Some Beat Somewhere. Accepting the award for Benear is Greg Martin.
Well, on behalf of my family and myself, I really appreciate this, the honor. And I will say, I thought Benear was the worst mistake I ever made. And I was just looking up the other day, and the 3 starts we had as a racehorse, which I bought her for, she made a grand total of $592. And I said, oh my God, what did I do? And then Some Beach Somewhere came up, and what a stallion. And what a bunch of great horses. and I appreciate this honor. Thank you very much.
Next up, we'll look at the 2017 Broodmare inductee, Fox Valley Monica. Bred by the Fox Valley Standardbreds, Broodmare Fox Valley Monica was foaled on April 29, 1998 in Sherman, Illinois. The progeny that qualified Fox Valley Monica for the Hall of Fame are 2006 Illinois Colt Stakes winner, world champion Glass Pack, and the 2008 American National winner Double Trouble, and 2012 American National winner Our Dragon King. Accepting the award for Fox Valley Monica is Darren Miller.
I am here on behalf of Legacy Lane Farm, where I feel real privileged to have this opportunity to be up here. Dwayne couldn't be here tonight. He owns the mare, so he sent me, and he sent a little piece of paper with me to read off. So when we bought Fox Valley Monica, she was an inexpensive mare at Harrisburg. We bought her for $16,000. And there's a little story that goes with that. As I was just a little kid when Dad bought her, and I don't know, it was back, I don't know how old I was, it was just small. And I remember this, I was growing up, Dad wanted to raise some foals, but he knew he had to spend about $20,000 to $25,000 when he wanted to go to Harrisburg. So the day came, he had $25,000 saved up, and he was going to go out to Harrisburg. But it so happened he couldn't have off of work, so he sent his brother Dennis to go out. And Dennis, he's a dairy farmer. He has no idea about horses. I mean, he knows the difference between a cow and a horse, but that's about it. If you'd say something about Dan Patch, you'd think it'd be a pirate with a patch over his ear. So Dennis goes out there, and Dad sends a book with him, and he's got all these mares marked down what he wants to buy. So Dennis calls him about halfway through the sale and says, all your mares you marked, they're all going for too much of a price. I can't buy anything. So Dad's like, well, just do the best you can. And he calls back a little bit later, hey, I finally got one. And tells Dad which one it was. And Dad's like, oh no, I didn't even mark this mare. It was all my hard-earned money. So about an hour later, Dennis calls again. Hey, I bought another one. And Lad's like, come on. What'd you know? It was Fox Valley Monica. He bought for $16,000. And the other mare he bought happened to raise a $200,000 Sire Stakes champion for Indiana. So, to go on with what Dad wrote down here. So we've owned her throughout her broodmare career. We raised each of her foals. It was with great satisfaction and accomplishment that we were able to do this. Legacy Lane Farm only has between 10 and 12 broodmares. This goes to show you don't need to be a Hanover or a Winback to accomplish this. We have made a lot of friends through all this, created a relationship with everyone that owns one of her foals. We as a family had a lot of fun watching this transgress as her full Glass Pack was nearing the $1 million mark. About every race he raced, we were around the little phone and we were watching that race. We would all watch every start with anticipation and to have her name amongst the other Hall of Fame inductees. Has brought a great feeling of accomplishment to our little farm in Napanee, Indiana. I just want to congratulate the other people and horses that have been or will be inducted today. Thanks again, and thanks for having me here today. Wishing everyone the best of luck in the future.
The 2017 Broodmare inductee Steinham's Place is one of the outstanding fillies of the last 25 years, bred by James Ledbetter, Richard Stansley, and John Powell Jr. She was foaled on May 2nd, 1994 in Lexington, Kentucky. She wound up winning the 1997 Breeders' Crown and Mistletoe Chalet a year after winning the Sweetheart. She earned over $1 million for life, was voted the 1997 Dan Patch 3-year-old Pacing Filly of the Year. And the progeny that qualified Steiner's Place for the Hall of Fame are 2010 Dan Patch 3-year-old Pacing Filly of the Year put on a show, who set the 2-year earnings record at that point for a filly, 2 and 3, broken only by I Love the Nightlife. 2009 Natty LaBelle and Jugette winner Show Her the Money, and Pennsylvania Sire Stakes champion Good Day Mate. Accepting the awards, a good guy here for Steiner's Place, that's Barry Gariglia.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, just as I came in and I was talking to Hollywood, it just kind of reminded me how long I've been around this business, and memories of Steiner's Place racing, and then it took her a while to be successful as a broodmare, but she definitely has come along, and I do say thank you to her. Kind of hard to really say a heck of a lot else, but thank you to everybody. And the only other thing, I'll use a little bit of a Murray Brown sales advertisement. She is selling a Sun Beach colt this year, so she's still producing, and appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The silent auction will close in about 22 minutes. 22 minutes, the silent auction will close. January 21st, 1968. The birth of the future Hall of Famer, Brian Sears. He grew up a third-generation horseman. His grandfather, Gene Sears, 997 career wins and $1.7 million. His dad, Jay Sears, 1,528 wins, $4.1 million. When Brian was about 8 years old, he was riding with his grandpa Gene in his grandpa's Cadillac. And Gene turned to Brian and said, "I drive horses. Your dad drives horses, and you're going to drive horses." He went to school in Vernon, New York, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He played football both ways, a defensive back and a quarterback. You see, Brian wanted to be an NFL quarterback. The only problem was his size. Around the barn, he wasn't much into the work required. He wanted to drive. So when he was 16, he drove his first race at a county fair with a mare by the name of Alicia Blue Chip. And his driving career was off and racing. In the next 4 years, he had 8 wins and 55 drives. That while attending Auburn University and pre-vet school in 1986 and 87. But after 2 years, the bug to drive took over and he quit school. It was the beginning of a driving career to the top of his chosen profession. 9,763 wins, purse earnings of $177,922,894. He made the move to the Meadows in 1994 and had his first $1 million year. But after 9 straight years finishing second in the standings, it was time to move on. And he did it. In 2003, his first at the Meadowlands, he doubled his earnings. And then in 2004, the start of 8 straight years of $10 million or more. Driver of the Year in harness racing in 2009 at the Meadowlands and various stops on the Grand Circuit. 26 Breeders' Crown wins, 4th in money earnings of over $10 million. Winner of the Little Brown Jug, the Hambletonian, Kentucky Fraternity, Meadowlands Pace, North American Cup, Yonkers Trot, the Messenger, the Cane, 2 Adios wins, Battle of Brandywine, Canadian Trotty Classic, and many other classic events. He holds the record for earnings in one day, Saturday, August the 8th, 2009. He won the Peter Houghton, the Hambletonian Oaks, the Hambletonian, 2 overnight drives, and was second in the U.S. Pacing Championship. Those horses that day earned $1,555,674, and Brian Sears took home $77,783.70. A record that still stands in harness racing. You know, let's go back a ways. I'm sure most of you remember Robert Young and the TV show Father Knows Best. Well, you know what Jay Sears told Brian after his stint at Auburn University, and I quote, "Brian, you can't make money as a catch driver." Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Harness Racing Living Hall of Fame, Brian Sears.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Roger. That was great. That was great. I would like to thank the harness riders and fellow Hall of Famers for this truly humbling honor. I never imagined in my life that I would be amongst all the greats in the Harness Racing Hall of Fame. It's truly an honor. Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate Steve Wolf and Gordon Waterstone. They worked very hard to promote our sport. Congratulations to Hannah Miller for her accomplishments as an amateur driver. I will be forever grateful to this sport for the positive impact that it's made in my life. I've been blessed with opportunity to race at so many tracks. Vernon Downs, Pompano Park is where I worked in my early career. I can't imagine a better place to spend my summers and winters. At the Meadows, I had the opportunity to race alongside 3 would-be Hall of Famers. At the Meadowlands, where I achieved some of my greatest accomplishments. And now I feel so very fortunate to be welcomed at Yonkers by the Rooney family. Sometimes on a spring afternoon at Yonkers, I'm just scoring a horse down. I just think to myself, what a great way to make a living. It's really amazing that I get paid to do this job sometimes. I think back when I was 12, my dad gave me a deal on a homebred colt, and he said, "You take care of this colt." And I worked on that colt, just one horse all day, all summer. And the deal was I'd get 5% whatever that colt made. And funny how it all worked out. I'm still working for 5%, but I did learn a lot, and it's been amazing. So to my dad, thank you for always being there, for all the good advice, and that we were able to keep things in perspective for me. I've been privileged to drive some great champions, and they are certainly a big part of why I'm here tonight. I want to thank the owners and trainers, but also I want to thank the owners and trainers of all the horses I've been fortunate enough to drive through the years. And tonight I see so many faces, and I want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for your support and your friendship. It means so much to me. And last, I want to say that my mom was always my biggest fan, and I know she'd love to be here tonight, and she'd be very proud. Thank you very much.
How many won 6 races today? Don't go away, Brian. Tell him he won 6 today.
He didn't win 6 today.
He did. He won 6 races.
What's this? He didn't win 6 today. He won 1. One race.
The hell he did. Where you been?
Oh, did he win after I left?
6 of them.
Did you win? Oh,
How many did you win, Brian?
I guess I left too early.
Yeah, I guess you did.
I got to redo my figures here and add 4 more wins. Next, we call for the presentation of the Communicators Hall of Fame inductees. First up, Moria Fanning.
Hello, good evening. Is it on? You speak into it. No. How about now? Now? Okay. Nope. Hello, good evening. I hate to see people leave before the communicators are honored, because you don't become a Hall of Famer in a vacuum. You don't become known, your horse's exploits don't become recorded, and you wouldn't be here tonight if the people watching didn't learn about you and read about you. So these guys deserve your attention. Gordon was not born into harness racing. The sport should be eternally grateful he adopted it. Where is he? Okay. It's one of my favorites, yeah. I've known him since I first worked for the Breeders' Crown. He made things so much easier for everybody that ever worked for him or with him. He was lured away to the Horseman and Fair world. The magazine not only got a great writer, but a conscientious editor, a harness racing historian who loathed hyperbole, but liked facts and details. You can read all about his accomplishments in the journal. What any horseman will tell you is that looks, pedigree, conformation are important in trying to choose a winner. The intangible is heart. Gordon has the heart and will in his own low-key way of a champion. Welcome to the Communicators Hall of Fame. Where is he?
Thank you, everybody. Wow. First, I want to congratulate everyone that's been honored here tonight, especially my great friend Steve Wolf and Brian Sears, who is one of the many horsemen and horsewomen over the years who's called me back or taken my calls and paved the way for me to be up here tonight. I also want to take a second to thank Janet Terhune and the rest of the staff here for a wonderful evening. It's truly humbling to be standing here, introduced by Moira, of course, one of my dearest friends, and to be on the podium with Roger, who's moved down there, and at a podium with Harry Harvey's name right in front of me. If you'd asked me back in early July 1979, when I first began working as a publicity assistant at Hazel Park, if I'd someday be standing here, inducted as a Communicators Hall of Famer, I'd have told you the odds were probably better that a reality TV star would be elected President of the United States. I was only the assistant for 2 years, and when Greg Magretto moved over to the race office, I took over the helm of that department. I was first introduced to racing by my father, Alvin, who took my brother Bill and I to actually the thoroughbreds over at, probably mainly over at DRC to see the Michigan Mile and some at Hazel Park. I began going to the harness racing, sneaking out at night with my friends, especially good buddy Gary Katz, who I actually owned 2 horses later on with. So I guess at that time it was destined. But it was a risk going into Hazel Park because it was just 84 dates. You know, I had a full-time job at a paint company that I got out of, but this is only part-time. But I soon got a call from Nan Rackett at Northville Downs, the Jackson and Northville meet. So now I was a PR director at Jackson and Northville. A couple years, I got a call at Northfield Park, so I went there for a couple years. So, and in taking the job at Northfield, I got lucky because I had relatives that lived in Akron, and they gave me a chance to stay at their home while I was there. So I took it with my aunt and uncle. And I'm thrilled tonight that my aunt is here, who lives in Akron, lives in New York City now. My aunt, I introduced her all night as Florence, but to me she's been Aunt Babe, because when I was a toddler I couldn't say Florence, so I called her Babe. So she's here tonight, and I'm thankful that she and my Uncle Aaron took me into their home. You know. So, but I think I wore out my welcome, because one day my dad showed up and he said, "I found your room with the Brexville motor in, you're getting out of here." And I moved over there and I paid $63 a week to stay there. And I also want to thank my cousin Steve, who's here from Massachusetts. He came in, they met, and they drove in. Steve and his family had a nice cottage in Holland, Michigan, and I'd spent a couple summers over there. What I told him today is I didn't really go to see him and his brothers. I came to see the little neighbor girl who I had a big crush on. And she loved to bounce up and down on the trampoline. But, you know, my aunt is my sister, is my mother's sister, and she can't travel. She's 87 and not in the best health, and she's home. I'm glad, though, at least today I can tell her she didn't raise a college dropout. She, you know, Hall of Famer, and my brother Bill is there with her. So, Tim Wojcicki recently asked me what the honor meant to me. I told him it was validation that I did something right over the past 38 years since I started. We had so many fun times in Michigan at the tracks. We had a great horse community at Hazel Park. You know, obviously we had the backstretch there, so everyone was around. We had buffets at the local restaurants. They gave us free buffets, and I was part of the family. I was accepted into the community, and I'm still getting calls when I talk to Michigan horsemen. Those are the most cherished I get. I approached promotions as a fan, so that's how I took things. It took me a couple years to get into Harold Duras at Hazel Park to do fireworks, and once we did, and we packed the place, he actually apologized to me for taking a couple years. Later, when I worked for Herb Tyner at Hazel Park, he gave me free reign, and we did promotions all the time. We gave away shirts, water pitchers, hats every month, cash prizes, handicapping contests. And it was fun. I'd go out every Friday, do a drawing, and when Jack Riggs, our great announcer, turned it down to me, I'd say, "Thanks, Jack." I had 100 people around there mimicking me, saying, "Thanks, Jack." It's also validation that at Northville Downs, my time, when I spent 2 hours to buy 20 Cabbage Patch dolls for a giveaway, you know, and we had a great crowd that night. It was worth it. And when the Iranian, this is going to date me, but when the Iranian hostages were freed, and one of them in 1981 and one lived in Northville, we celebrated him at the track and had a great turnout. I used to also dress as Santa Claus every year. And on Christmas time, one year I drove in on a jog cart, another time I rode in on the starting car, and one time Leila Montgomery, she was the outrider, she gave me her horse So I rode on the horse, and it was great until when I was leaving the winter circle, and winter circle Jimmy thought he'd smack the horse on the rump and think it was funny. So there I go, out taking off 1,000,000 miles an hour towards the paddock, holding on, trying my beer. Somehow I held on, and you can hear Liella. There's a video made, and if you see her, she'll back up this story, that she was yelling at me to hold on for dear life. So I can say that I had to take the Santa Claus outfit to the laundromat before I took it back to the costume shop, though. So I left Hazel Park in 1976, went to Northfield Downs, and then in 1998, Moira Fanning said, why don't you come to the Ushuaia dinner at Dover Downs? And I did. And I ran into Kathy Parker, one of my dearest friends there, and we had a little conversation that was innocent enough. And you got to remember, I went back to Michigan State. When I went to Michigan State, you could buy the Horseman at Fairworld on campus at the bookstore. Every Monday I'd run to get it. I couldn't wait to do it. So anyways, it was 19 years ago this weekend that I rented a U-Haul and brought my stuff to Lexington because I accepted Kathy's offer. Kathy asked me the other day why I didn't have her introduce me instead of Moira. I told her I had my reasons, and she's my boss. Do I want to do the boss? But instead, I wanted her sitting right there and savoring and enjoying all this, my 38 years, and knowing that I'm up here because of her and her alone. And sit back. She took a chance on me and molded me and trusted me. And the Hervey Awards I've won wouldn't have happened had she not been there to perfect those stories. Sometimes, and I've told her this, I feel like I'm a high school student turning in a paper, and when she gives it back to me with all her editing marks, I'm looking for the grade in the corner. So it was Kathy who came up many years ago, the idea to have me troll the backstretch at the Red Mile during Grand Circuit time and write a website blog. What's great is that the horsemen still let me hang around them at night, knowing they might end up getting a mention. I learned actually they love getting mentioned. My problem was that I started hanging around with Nick Salvey too much, and when you hang around with Nick, you can't write what you do, or you get censored by Kathy. So that I had to back off from hanging around with Nick then. However, it was my idea to start giving the daily gas prices, and who knew the gas price will somebody probably go on my headstone. Again, Kathy is, in no disrespect to anybody, she is the hardest working person in the business. The labor of love she puts into the magazine, when I first arrived, and the newsletter and the website, she never stops coming up with ideas. I'm just glad I didn't let her down and that I was able to continue the path set by Mr. Hackett and Tom White, who were also in the Communicators Corner, as well as my colleagues through the years, Joe Kyle, Greg Schuler, and now in the office, our advertising director, Lynn Myers, Suzanne Starbuck, and Heather Kemper, who worked their magic to illustrate the stories. I also have to thank Tom Charters and Moira for asking me to be part of their Breeders' Crown publicity team for many years. They gave me a chance to meet a lot of big-time horsemen over the years. I could go on and name a lot of people, but to have guys like Brian Sears and Tim Tetrick, David Miller, always answer the phone. I call Yannick, he's at hockey practice with Jaden, and he takes the phone call. Or Ronnie Burke watching 10 tracks at once. Or Jimmy Tactor, who's endlessly busy, he always takes the call. Can't thank him enough. Where's John? I see John back there. Another big-time horseman I know, and this is long ago because I met John before I was even in the business. He doesn't remember it, obviously, but I do. And that was growing up in Detroit, Windsor, John Campbell. I'm in the small group that actually saw John's first maybe 100 wins and first $50,000 in purse earnings. So when you look up class in the dictionary, it says John Campbell. As Paul Kelly just put on Facebook, you're the Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe, which is my namesake, of harness racing. So when I'm trying to figure out, John, you're younger, how come you get to retire and I don't? So anyways, congratulations on your retirement. You've won the last 3 races. Maybe you want to continue. I don't know. Paula, what do you think? So, and good luck. And so instead of me now asking questions about your driving strategy, be prepared because I'm going to ask you how much the French bet on the Hambletonian. I want to finish by mentioning a couple of people. Last November, my mentor at Hazel Park, Ken Marshall, died. He gave me so much advice and wisdom over the years. And then this March, it was Sam McKee who died. I received a really, really nice text message from his wife, Chris, last night congratulating me and telling me how thrilled Sam was when he learned that I was going to be joining him in the Communicators Corner. I'm surely I've forgotten somebody, like my assistants at Hazel Park, Linda, Susie, and Kim, who also obviously helped through the years. And that's what happens through 40 years, so through all this. Also, as I said before, awards, it's not the awards, it's the relationships. I found that out the last few days. The relationships mean a lot more than anything else. Again, thank you for this great honor. And if you come to Lexington, gas was $1.96 a gallon.
For the next presentation, we call to the podium Leon Zimmerman. There's Steve's ring. Oh, but we're doing it for pictures.
Thank you very much, Roger. Welcome. I'm privileged and honored to present to you the next Communicators Hall of Famer, my dear friend Steve Wolf, who's had a tough time of things. He was always talking that he had the curse of the middle child. And when Ruth Wolf's son, Stevie, was learning how to milk cows on the family's dairy farm in Flemington as a young boy, he probably never dreamed of a career as a writer, publicist, who would sleep, eat, breathe, and live harness racing to its fullest. For those of you who don't know, the Wolf family was in the dairy and beef cattle business when Steve's dad, the inimitable Manny Wolf, added his first racehorse to the farm in 1977. Can you imagine if he didn't do that? Steve would have grown up promoting the benefits of cows instead of horses. Why, tonight we might be inducting him into the Cattlemen's Hall of Fame. Now at the age of 61, Steve Wolf is the epitome of harness racing communicator and promoter. Not simply excited about his sport, but exuberant. Not simply dedicated, but devoted. Not simply good at it, but recognized by his colleagues for his successes, including twice being named United States Harness Riders Member of the Year. Some who knew Steve in the early days of his career may be somewhat surprised because he had a little difficulty keeping a job. He groomed horses for Tom Coyne and Major Roan after his father Manny gave up the dairy business for standardbreds. He was also a part-time publicist then at Liberty Bell. And when the late Bruce Stearns didn't make him a full-timer, he was off to Brandywine to ply his trade under the guidance of Marv Backrack. When Bruce exhausted his supply of assistants, he brought Steve back on board. But it wasn't long before Steve was off to the SBOA of New Jersey as a publicist, and a few years later to Freehold Raceway, where he became the king of promotions. I had known Manny Wolf from his racing horses, usually with a Hebrew word or two added to the Wolf name, in the New Jersey Sire Stakes program. But I didn't meet Steve until 1984, when Hall of Famer Anthony Abatello, then president of the SBOA of New Jersey, hired him as the organization's publicity director and asked me to help him in his new position. Though Steve supposedly had learned to write stories according to the Associated Press style book during a brief stint with the Star-Ledger of Newark, I was surprised that the help Mr. Abatello had suggested would eventually include editing his news releases for grammar and spelling. Well, I said, wait a minute now. After all, he tutored basically under two Hall of Famers, Baccarat and Stearns. And don't forget, his wife Stephanie is an English teacher. So he should have a pretty good command of the language, I thought. But when it came to enthusiasm for harness racing, Steve has been unparalleled in his ability to come up with promotions, marketing, and creating really good stories. At Freehold, he developed ideas for several claiming series, a harness drivers championship event that were models for other racetracks, and he took a chili cook-off event that was at a shopping center and turned it into a statewide championship event, bringing thousands of people to Freehold Raceway. And then there was the widespread publicity he created for racing appearances at Freehold of the pacer Hi-Ho Silverheels and the person who the horse was named for, the late actor Jay Silverheels, who played Tonto on the Lone Ranger TV shows. Steve was more than a writer and a publicist. He also discovered and brought to Freehold from Australia the popular harness racing fireworks stunt show of Vincent Silvestro and his horse, Hand Me Silver, which appeared at numerous other racetracks. Every summer Steve was in New Jersey. He would run the Harness Horse Youth Foundation day camps and did a lot of work with the community college in Monmouth County. Over the years, he helped a lot of people get a boost in their harness racing careers. Those who worked for him include Greg Blanchard, general manager at Western Fair, Barry Brown, general manager at Harris Chester, harness, and let's not forget harness racing social media diva, Heather Vitale. Steve's next stop was in Florida to be director of marketing and communications at Isle of Caprice Pompano Park, where he was director of marketing and communications and later senior director of racing, using his talents to boost interest in harness racing throughout South Florida. He's now a consultant for Harness Link and Hippodrome 3R Racetrack in Quebec. Can I have your attention, please? Can we have some attention? Steve's devoted service to USHWA included being national president, chapter president in 2 states, journal chair, annual dinner co-chair, and he's received top awards from the North American Publicists and the Harness Horse Youth Foundation. Looking back, Ruth Wolf's son Stevie made one very significant and critical decision along the way. While a journalism major at Temple University, he met Stephanie, a fellow student who worked with him on the school newspaper. Later, as a middle school English teacher, she invited him to speak to her class about journalism. She even took him out to dinner as a thank you. That was not a date, however. No date. It was pay him back. Steve and Steffi's first real date came later. And you guessed it, he took her to see one of his father's horses race at Liberty Bell. Well, they became husband and wife and are the proud parents of 2 terrific sons, Philip and Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce my longtime friend and colleague, Steve Wolf, for his well-deserved induction into the Harness Racing Communicators Hall of Fame.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Especially thank you, Leon Zimmerman. It was a great intro. You've been one of my best friends and a co-worker throughout almost 40 years of my career, and I cherish our friendship very deeply. First and foremost tonight, folks, I want to congratulate Gordon Waterstone and Brian Sears on their well-deserved inductions into the Hall of Fame. They are both so worthy of this special honor. And congratulations, of course, to all of tonight's award winners. As most of you heard from Leon, I was born and raised on a dairy farm. A lot of people, when I went to an inner city college, Like Temple University couldn't believe that, so I used to take them out to the farm for weekends, play Tom Sawyer and get them to clean stalls and brush cows and feed and carry hay bales, and then they believed it. But I could milk a cow, ride a horse, and drive a tractor by the time most kids could handle a two-wheeler. But it wasn't until my life took a turn in college that led me to a career in harness racing. I wanted to be a sports reporter, not a marketing and PR man, not a racetrack director. In fact, I left college halfway through my senior year, and I'm sorry for that mom who's in the back tonight, to take a job as a sports writer for the New York Star Ledger. It was all because of the damn harness racing bug. Once it gets in you, it never wants to leave. It just sucks you in more and more into the sport. I only stayed 7 months at the Star Ledger, didn't like doing all the grunt work. I wanted more, I wanted to do harness racing, and there weren't any opportunities in that. It was my father who gave me the gumption to take my journalism talents to harness racing. He wasn't going to let me sit at home checking want ads in the newspaper. He kicked my butt and got me a job opportunity for Alan Levitt at Atlanta LaBelle Farms prepping yearlings. Afterwards, I was breaking our own homebred yearlings, from where I learned the trade the right way, mucking stalls, cleaning harness, jogging and training, learning the industry from the ground up, and being able to use that with my publicity and PR knowledge. I was able to take that great experience and turn it into a career that I love to this day. I've never forgotten those who helped me, guided me, and most importantly, supported my endeavors. My main goal in harness racing was to attract new people in the industry and try and get them to addicted to harness racing as I was. While I was at Temple University, I loved harness racing so much that when I became editor-in-chief of the daily newspaper, instead of running those little house ads, donate to the American Red Cross, well, my father and I had a good horse racing at the Liberty Bell Park, so I put in that box, it's Levanto in the 5th at the Bell. Well, Levanto ending up winning 5 straight races, got claimed for, I think, $25,000 at the Meadowlands. But when it was at Liberty Bell, students started coming up to the newspaper, asking who was putting this in the paper. You know, it's Levanto going for his 3rd straight. And I think one of them was Howard Taylor at the time. Whether it was through handicapping races, trying to give people winners to make money on, running hands-on day camps for young people at tracks, farms, and training centers, even bringing over that crazy Australian who did the unbelievable fireworks stunt show. It was all to promote and create interest in the sport, and I loved doing it. What I really want to do tonight, while I have control of the podium, is to introduce you to some of the people that most of you have never met. Yet these are the people I want you to know about. Most of you knew my father, Manny Wolf, and it was he who got our family into harness racing. I used to drive up from Temple University in Philadelphia to watch our horses race at the Meadowlands. But here with us tonight is my mom, Ruth Wolf, and she's the one who tried to keep my father and I in check with the horses. She and my father always supported my endeavors to work in the industry, and I can never thank them enough for their love. Being here in Goshen is extra special, as we always raced here, our young horses here during Hall of Fame week. In fact, it was my mom who donated the bench on the 2nd floor for the wives of the horsemen to have a place to sit while their husbands toured the displays year in, year out. Also with me tonight is my brother Michael and his wife Carol. It was Carol, my sister-in-law's father, Sam Lance, who taught me how to bet the races, and man, did we make some money in those early days. And my brother Michael, I want to thank you not just for being a great brother, but it was you who took me under your wing in high school and got me started working on the weekly school newspaper that led me to a career in journalism. With us tonight is my younger sister, Alana. She was the spoiled brat of the family, and I still can't believe that I was training and grooming horses for nearly 3 years, and the only photos my family has is the two times that she ever jogged a horse. Also with me tonight are my 2 sister-in-laws, Margarita Sulpizio and Alexis DeSanto. And they were great, but it was a little tough in the beginning. when this nice little Jewish farm boy from New Jersey moved in to live in their house in South Philadelphia. And they taught me Italian the hard way, telling me expressions that I had to go and ask my mother-in-law what they were, and then get hit with the rag, what they call the mapin, until they told me what they were talking about. And most of you via Facebook know who my mother-in-law is. Her real name is Margarita Sensi Paulo, but we call her Nana. She's lived with us in Florida since 2003 as a fixture in our Humber home. She's the brunt of too many of my jokes, but I love her so. Back in the early days, it was Nana and her husband Julius who took this farm boy in their home in South Philadelphia, and I can never thank them enough for that. I know the first time I took my father-in-law Julius to the races at Liberty Bell Park, and our horse won, and he got his photo taken in the winner's circle, put him on top of the world, because the next day he couldn't wait to get to the construction site and brag to everyone there. But just like a yearling, people need to be schooled or trained, and I could never have asked for better teachers in our sport than who are already in the Hall of Fame, and three of those four are with us tonight. Mav Brockrod saw the raw talent and hired me to work for him at Brandywine, and I learned from the very best. And it was at Brandywine where I developed a friendship with the next Hall of Famer by the name of Jerry Connors, who today we are still the best of friends and co-workers. Back in those days, Jerry and I used to handicap 5-6 tracks a day, fight over who would put the results on the USTA hotline, and discuss the great horses and horsemen we got to watch and work with day in, day out. And we also put up the best running numbers ever on the tote board and TV screen during a live race. And of course, the late Bruce Stearns, who took actually 2 seasons at Liberty Bell, saw his assistants get homesick for New England, and eventually hired me. Bruce was the best, and he motivated Jerry Connors and myself to always do our best and then some. And to hear Bruce Stearns say to you, "You done good, kid," was the best compliment anyone could hear. And yes, it was Leon Zimmerman who told me to take him under his wing at the SPOA, and to this day we've worked on some of the great promotions during New Jersey's heydays. I also have with me tonight my 2 sons, Philip and Ryan Wolf. They took different paths. They grew up on the farm in New Jersey. Philip would help feed the mares and foals, and yet he's keeping a tradition that has been in the Wolf family for hundreds of years, and that is the breeding, raising, and selling of livestock. Only he handles venomous reptiles. It still breeds them and sells them, but he's keeping the tradition going. My younger son Ryan, he grew up in South Florida with birthday parties at the Mini Horse Barn, and at a young age was a pretty good handicapper. He used to get my father to always put in bets for him. And my father would say, "I don't like that horse." Ryan said, "I picked that horse." My father bet it, and his horse won. But my boys put up with their dad always being at the races, working nights, working weekends, missing a lot of events. But hopefully they saw how I love the sport, and that I hopefully have educated them that when you work at a job, you need to be able to love to get up the next morning and attend to work. There's so many of you here tonight to thank. My fellow members of the Florida chapter of USHWA who nominated me, co-workers from all over, friends who I haven't seen in years like Carol Scott, my good friend Les Kahn, and of course one of the horsemen that I've been friends with for many, many years is here tonight, Wally Hennessy. My induction to the Hall of Fame is the pinnacle of my career in racing, and I know that no one would be prouder of this than my father. I know he is somewhere smiling down at me tonight. But having a career like I have is not a one-man show, and that is the support I've always been given for more than 35 years by my wife, Stephanie. She worked a full-time job as a teacher. She raised 2 children superbly, supported my endeavors 100%, and through thick and thin, you've always been there for me. I wanted to tell a story about how we met in college, but Leon ruined it for me. Thank you, Leon. But from Liberty Bell to Brandywine, the New Jersey Sire Stakes, Freehold and Meadowlands, Garden State Park to Pompano Park, Stephanie has always been there helping me with promotions, helping edit my copy, helping me with upcoming ideas and stuff. I could always bounce stuff off of her. She's been my love and support for 35 years now, and I'm going to share this honor tonight with her 110%. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very, very much. Yes. Steffi, come on up here. She's not. Come on.
It's all yours. Take that home. Don't forget to give him the ring. Give him these rings. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Also at this time, I want to present Steve with his official Hall of Fame Communicators ring. Congratulations again. Good, thank you.
Auction closes now at 9 o'clock, because I don't think you said it.
Bulletin. The silent auction will not close till 9 o'clock. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Last but not least, the Living Horse Hall of Fame. Once again, Bob Hayden.
The Living Horse Hall of Fame has two spectacular entrants this year. Let's start right off the bat with Mr. Muscleman. He was bred by Brittany Farm and Spar J Stable. The trotting gelding Mr. Muscleman was foaled April 23, 2000 in Versailles, Kentucky, from the first crop of Muscles Yankee. Trained by Noel Daly, driven by Ron Pierce, the three-time divisional winner Mr. Muscleman is currently ranked 5th among all leading money-winning North American trotters of all time. He finished off the board, get this, 8 times in 6 seasons. As a 3-year-old, Mr. Muscleman's wins included the Bluegrass and Harold Dancer Memorial. The following year, at 3 victories in the Breeders' Crown, Canadian Trotting Classic, and Kentucky Futurity, contributed to his being voted the 3-year-old Trotting Colt of the Year, and his earnings of $1,178,115 were the most ever by a 3-year-old trotting gelding. In 2004, he won the Maple Leaf Trot and the American National and helped earn Mr. Muscleman himself the title as the Older Trotter of the Year in both the United States and Canada. In 2005, the 5-year-old Mr. Muscleman's victories included the Breeders' Crown and the Maple Leaf Trot. And that Maple Leaf Trot was against Peaceful Way. His season's earnings of $1,364,220 were the most ever by an older standardbred gelding and made Mr. Muscleman the only standardbred ever to earn $1 million in 2 non-consecutive seasons of North American racing. He was voted the 2005 Trotter of the Year and Older Trotter of the Year. In 2007, the 7-year-old Mr. Muscleman on the comeback trail finished a close second in Sweden's Elite Lot. Mr. Muscleman has been a resident of Kentucky Horse Park's Hall of Champions since October 2009. The members of the Harness Racing Museum elected him to Harness Racing's Hall of Fame in December of 2016. Accepting the award is the man who purchased Mr. Muscleman, Adam Victor.
They're both coming.
Bob, thank you. The person who should really be here accepting this award is my son, Adam Jr., and my trainer, Noel Daly. I got involved in this business to bond with my son, and Noel was the first person that we met in this business, and have been with him ever since, and are extremely close friends. Every owner here has always heard a trainer said, oh, this is a horse that is going to be a champ, he's great, and all this type of stuff. Noel never did that. However, he did once call me, the only time, and he said, Adam, you should come up to Canada because this horse may be the best horse that you will own. And I said, well, yeah. It's like so many other owners have heard that. And I didn't go to Canada. In fact, I didn't even watch him race. I was at the movies with my wife, Joanne, and Mr. Muscleman won the Canadian Trotting Classic. It was the first and only time that I ever missed Mr. Muscleman run. As Bob mentioned, he won the 2 Breeders' Crowns, Maple Leaf Trife twice. We enjoyed ourselves going to the elite lot and basically made the sport have a special place to me. The horse is now living in the Kentucky Horse Park, which is a great place. He is huge now, he is a star, and he is as sweet as ever. With that, I want to thank the Hall of Fame for nominating Mr. Musselman. Thank you very much.
Oh, so good. Earned it. Boy, you talk about earning it. Yeah, right? That's for sure. Last but far from least on the list of horses going in tonight is the 2010 Horse of the Year, Rock and Roll Heaven. Bred by athlete Cotton Nash, Julie Nash, Francine Nash, and Steve Stewart, the Horse of the Year in 2010, world champion pacer Rock and Roll Heaven, was foaled on April 29, 2007 in Paris, Kentucky. He was trained by Bruce Saunders, and his primary driver was Dan Dubé, even though John Campbell took a turn for 2 months in the summer of 2010 when Dubé was injured. Rock and Roll Heaven's 2009 two-year-old season was highlighted by victories in the New Jersey Sire Stakes Final in the Division of the Bluegrass. In 2010, the 3-year-old Rock and Roll Heaven won 16 of 21 starts, earning $2,156,192, that year's leading money-winning standardbred. Victories included the Breeders' Crown, Little Brown Jug, Tattersalls, Battle of the Brandywine, Messenger Stakes, Berries Creek Final, Matron Stakes, Bluegrass Stakes, and New Jersey Sire Stakes Final. He won his final 10 starts. And he won the Little Brown Jug in record time. Rock and Roll Heaven became the first horse to pace 2 sub-150 miles on the same day on a half-mile track. Rock and Roll Heaven was voted the 2010 Dan Patch Horse of the Year, Dan Patch Pacer of the Year, and the Dan Patch and O'Brien 3-year-old Colt Pacer of the Year of 2010. Rock and Roll Heaven currently stands at Winback Farm in Walden, New York, and the members of the Harness Racing Museum elected Rock and Roll Heaven to Harness Racing's Hall of Fame in December 2016. Accepting the award for Rock and Roll Heaven is Joe Bellino, the owner.
Don't be shy, Joe.
Yeah, I won't be. All right. Last but not least, pumped. I want to thank everybody who voted. It was a great honor for my family and I. Going to just tell 2 quick stories and then let Bruce speak. None of them have girls jumping on trampolines. So, when we purchased Rock and Roll Heaven, Bruce had flown out to Ohio and sat behind him, and he called us up, and we were in my dad's office, my brother, my dad, and myself, and he said, the guy wants $300,000 for him. It's a big swing. He's only won 2 qualifiers. And I covered the phone. I go, Dad, we ain't buying this horse. And my brother said, yeah, come on, Dad, forget about it. Dad said, I want him. So I said to Bruce, Bruce, buy him. I said, Dad wants him, I guess. And then I covered up the phone. I was like, Dad, don't buy this horse. It's too much to spend. And Bruce said, yeah, it's a big swing. And Dad walked out of the office, and as he closed the door, he said, we own him now, buy him. And that was how we ended up buying him. And Bruce did an unbelievable job with him through his campaign. It was, at that time, it was my brother, myself, and my dad. My brother, that Monday, we were sending him to Blue Chip Farms to become a stallion. And we went to say goodbye, and Rock and Roll Heaven bit my brother. And My brother passed away the Sunday Monday we said goodbye. My brother passed away suddenly the Sunday that we said goodbye. So he went up to Blue Chip and he did very well. And this year he was at Alumni in Australia and was the second leading sire in Australia there. So we're very proud. I want to thank everybody who's bred to him here in New York, New Jersey, and back in New York. And we cannot express our thanks to everyone who's ever, bred to him and supported him. And I've met some great people with this horse and some really, really, truly heartfelt people who reached out to my family. And I can't express how grateful I am for Bruce and what he's done for us. And we keep buying and we're trying to find another one. Thank you.
On behalf of Bellino and myself, we'd like to acknowledge and recognize all the worthy inductees of the 2017 class, 2 and 4-legged, Brian and Gordon and Steve and Hannah, very worthy accomplishments and hard-earned and well-deserved. For Rock and Roll Heaven, we'd like to thank those of you who voted for him, a really worthy inductee. For us, he was a horse of a lifetime, and we all have anecdotes that will go on forever. I'm not sure any of us are in the mood for anecdotes now, but if we have a drink later, I might indulge you in some of them. But thank you so much for this induction, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Joe Bellino, Joe, always remember, Father knows best.
Yes. Especially when he's got the checkbook.
Bruce says especially when he's got the checkbook. Well, that wraps it up, and I'm happy to say another world's record for the dinner, 9:03. We thank you ever so much. We'll see you again next year. Mark it on the calendar right now. Sunday, July the 1st. Be here! Have a safe trip home and enjoy the 4th of July.